Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and we have a whiny dog already. Jango is feeling some kind of way today, and he just needs y'all to know about it. It's also the reason that I am just going to try to film this as quickly as I can because he's being very needy today. So, let's talk about the books that I finished this week. I finished 5 books. I'm trying my best to get done with everything by the end of the month, and I think I'm going to make it, especially because we have a weekend coming up where I have nothing to do. This past weekend for you, I'm filming this on Friday. I finished 2 of the In Death books. The first one was Divided in Death, and then the second one was Visions in Death. Visions in Death might be one of my favorites. It involved a psychic who came to them and said that she was having visions of the killer, like she was either in his mind or she was there witnessing what was going on, but she didn't see his face or any of that stuff. So anyway, she came in. Eve, of course, was skeptical. She was like, listen. And so I just love the way that it was all worked around and how we got to see Eve liking the woman, but at the same time really wanting there to be facts and actual evidence and facts and not just feelings that the lady had. And that one had a huge upset at the end with one of our main characters, and then a giant twist that I did not see coming. It was one of those twists that it happened and I felt it in my stomach. I was like, oh, it was so good. So anyway, maybe one of my favorites. I finished book 3 of the Green Rider series called The High King's Tomb. And this one, again, this might be one of my favorites, though, from the Green Rider series. I can't really talk about what happened because it'll be giving away spoilers, but we are still following Kerrigan. I think last time I said I thought her name was Kel, but it's Kerrigan. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Kerrigan. I might be wrong again this week, but I think that that's her name. And so we're still following her, and I like her as a character a lot more in this book. There are other characters that have been with us through all the books that I actually like less now after this book. Just some decisions that some people are making that I'm not super happy about. Anyway, I finished that one, and there will be a live show for that once Fina makes the actual plan of when it's going to be. But we have been discussing who's going to be on the discussion and when we can be there and all that kind of stuff. So we're just waiting for the actual time and date, but that'll be over on Fina's channel. Fina Reads. I'll link her below. Okay, then I finished My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I kept putting this one off, actually. This is one of his more popular books, and I kept putting it off because I knew that this is his first book that he's written of a series, and it's the first time he's written a series. And so book 2 is coming out later this year, and so I almost wanted to save this one and read it right before book 2 came out. But I also wanted to read this with my friend Brandy, and I gave it to her as a birthday gift. And so she and I read it together this month and really enjoyed it. We are following Jade, who lives in a town. Really? I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't seem to be hurting, but he needs to be right on top of me today, apparently in my face. So I don't know. We're just gonna have Jango join us today. So Jade lives in this small town, and the town itself, I think is really well fleshed out. I think he did a really good job of introducing us to the people of the town. I really liked that. And Jade has some issues, and we know that from the very beginning. Jade has some issues that she needs some help with, and she doesn't really have a good support system, I will say, especially a familial support system. Her family connections are non-existent, and she has a job. She works as a janitor for the school where she attends high school. It's her senior year. She's getting ready to graduate. Now, the coolest part about this book was in between a lot of the like present day chapters, here's what's happening. There were reports, school reports that she had done in her history class for extra credit, and they were all about slashers, and they were also about things that had happened in her town, like they were history reports from her town, but she always wove in these slasher movies from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, like those kinds of movies. And those letters were not letters, but those papers were like some of my favorite parts. And I wasn't reading the physical book. And so I asked Brandy, I was like, are they written differently? Because I think they're all called Slasher 101. And then it'll be like a paper. And so she said, yeah, there's a different font. And so she showed it to me how it looks in the actual physical copy of the book. Those were my favorite parts. And I'm definitely not going into the end of what happened, but I feel like a lot of times in these Stephen Graham Jones books, when you get to the end, whatever the like climactic scene is or something, I'm always left going, what exactly happened? Like, was it real? If somebody saw somebody that was supposed to be dead, were they not dead? Or so I'm always left with that feeling. And actually, the same thing happens in all of the Green Rider books too. When it gets to be that last scene, I can't tell what's real and what is supernatural and what is like, I'm just like, are they alive? Or is that really happening? Or are they just seeing that? And that's exactly how I felt at the end of My Heart is a Chainsaw. Although I would love to see this like in a slasher, like especially that final scene. It was amazing. So that is My Heart is a Chainsaw, and I will be picking up book 2 when it comes out in the fall. The last thing that I finished, completely switching gears, it was Empress Dowager Cixi. Empress Dowager Cixi. I practiced saying this a lot, and I listened to this on audio, so I heard them saying her name a lot, and I still can't quite get it right. And it's not even her name. I was blown away by this woman's life. First of all, I started out thinking that this book was going to be boring and I probably wouldn't like it because the very beginning of it, I was like, eh. And I thought, am I really going to like take the time to read this book, or should I just put it down and be like, sorry, NPR, I couldn't read your book. But I decided to keep going and give it a shot. And I'm so glad that I did. I loved this book. First of all, this woman's life was fascinating. So when she was born at mid 1800s, there were the way that it worked in China was that the emperor had multiple wives, multiple concubines. So there would be one empress and then multiple concubines. And there was a search made for all of these concubines, and they would come and live in the women's area of the palace. And she was chosen at the age of 15 or 16 to be his next concubine. And between the ages of 15 to 16 and 20, when she had her first child, she just lived there and she had a number. That was her name. She just had a number. And she had a child, and it was a boy. And even though there's only one empress, all of the concubines' children are considered to be legitimate heirs. Like there's not any hierarchy of kids. Like the kids are just considered to be all heirs to the throne. And that's another thing. It does not pass to the oldest child. It does not pass to the oldest son. It is passed to whoever the emperor wants to pass it to. Anyway, she goes from having no name at the age of 20 to at the age of 25 running China. Like, Okay, I'm just not going into it because I feel myself starting to ramble about everything that happened because it was such an interesting book. So maybe that will get its own video since I can't stop talking about it. We'll see. But I loved it so much. If you like nonfiction and you are interested at all in court intrigue stuff, this is the book for you. This book had so much of it. Like, everybody was a spy and everybody was sneaking around and conniving behind everybody else's back, and it was just so well done and so well written, and I loved it so much. So highly recommend that if you like nonfiction and if you like court intrigue books. Okay, I am still reading Birds of a Feather, which is by Jacqueline Winspear. This is my latest. I'm not sure her name. I don't want to say it wrong, or I don't want to get the wrong name confused. But this is Maisie Dobbs, the Maisie Dobbs series. This is book number 2. She is like a Sherlock Holmes kind of character. And so far, where I am right now, somebody has been killed, and the police are actually letting her go look through the crime scene after they've already done their investigating part. And because they think she might be able to help them. So that's where I am right now. I'm also reading The Prince and the Dressmaker. This was Amy at A Star Reads. This was our Game of Life draw for this month. And she recommended this book. And I am about halfway, I guess. About halfway. I love it. It is, first of all, it's a graphic novel. And the illustrations are so good. So the story, which I already knew what the story was that the prince hires a dressmaker because he wants to wear dresses. This bigger picture right here on the cover is him. This is the prince wearing a wig. And this is the actual prince. His name is Sebastian. And she's making clothes for the prince. And she's also making dresses for the prince. And so that's where I am right now, is that they're just becoming really good friends. Like, she's practically his best friend because he can't tell anybody else this secret that he has because he will be ostracized. Like, he's a prince. He can't say, oh, I like to dress up in dresses. So I will see what I think about that when I'm done with the whole thing. I kind of see where I think it's going at this point, but we'll see when we get there. Next up is going to be Desperation by Stephen King. This is the next book in the Dark Tower extended reading list that I'm doing. So I'll be getting to this one in just a couple of days, actually. Once I finish Birds of a Feather, I think this is the one I'm starting. So let's talk about what's coming up next. This video comes up on Monday. There will not be a video on Wednesday, and then April kicks off on Friday. There will be a video a day from me beginning on April 1st. I am going to try to keep them short because I know that when I, as a consumer, start watching somebody's videos and they're putting out a video every day, I start getting like, oh, I can't do this every day. But I'm telling you that they're going to be short, especially if you listen to them on 2x speed. I'm just kidding. But I am going to just kind of walk you through the day and what I've read, and I will try to keep it short. If you have anything to say or any questions, please put them down in the comments of each day's video because I will be reading the comments that day before I'm finalizing editing the video for the next day. So anything there, it should happen in real time, which is weird for me because usually I film things the month before for the next month. So usually I would have already filmed all of my Wednesday and Friday videos for April. They would be done. And if you want to know more about that process and how that works, then in April, beginning on the 18th, spoiler alert, I will be batch filming my May's contents. So you'll see how that works. So I guess that's everything. I am excited about it. At the same time, I'm really nervous about it. But I have pre-filmed the first, second, and third because I'm going to be out of town for the weekend. But I will be back here next week on Monday with my first, video of the day. I do not know what time of the day they will be published. It'll just be when I finish it. But my Monday video is mostly just going to be a recap of the weekend. And so I think that's how the videos are going to work, is I'm going to finalize the video the morning of and share any final thoughts, and then it'll go up. So it's kind of going to be, my Monday video is going to be a weekend recap. So then the Tuesday video is going to be what I did on Monday, and then Tuesday morning before it goes up. So that's how I think it's going to go. I tried to film a brand new intro scene, and listen, I am a video editor. That's what I get paid to do. But I have realized that the people who hire me are not looking for fancy video edits, because I spent an hour and a half on the 15-second intro to these videos in April. So I just need you to be real nice when you watch the video intro, because I spent an hour and a half on the first 15 seconds that you're going to see. Oh, okay. That's it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Leave a dress, maybe, since that's what I'm still reading. Or a bird, since I'm reading Birds of a Feather. And I will see you on April 1st. Bye.